AfterBuzz TV, starting place to the likes of WWE female superstars Kathy Kelly, Sonya Deville, and Zelina Vega proudly presents Women's Wrestling Weekly, the world's first podcast and YouTube series dedicated exclusively to women's wrestling, featuring all the latest news as well as interviews with top superstars in the industry. And now, AfterBuzz TV's own gorgeous lady of wrestling, TK Trinidad.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. You're watching Women's Wrestling Weekly, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. My name is TK Trinidad, aka the Canadian Assassin, and Evan T. Mack is out saving crime, fighting crime, all that good stuff, but he will be back next week. However, that's not going to stop us from having a great show. Now, this lady has been on the show last year. This is her second time coming on, but I'm so excited. We have so much to talk about. She is now an NXT superstar and fellow Canadian. Please welcome Chelsea Green.
Yay!
Yay! How are you doing?
I'm so good. Life is crazy, right?
Yes! You had like a phenomenal 2018, 2019. So let's just kind of like we'll go like a little bit like chronologically. So
Okay.
2018, let's start off with Lucha Underground.
Oh my gosh, we haven't even spoken about that.
Yes!
That is crazy to me. Like, I feel like my whole life happened in 2018.
Yeah.
I had so much go down, and I was actually sitting in LA in a coffee shop when I got a call from Lucha Underground, and they wanted me to, I had a little tryout match,
Right.
and they wanted me to come back and have a main event match against Pentagon.
Oh my gosh.
Crazy.
So how
crazy.
was it? I mean, Lucha Underground is amazing as far as, television meets wrestling. So how was that experience when you saw it put together?
I had no idea what I was getting into. I'm really good friends with, fellow Canadian Taya Valkyrie.
Yes.
So she kind of like gave me the lowdown a little bit, but you can't even begin to describe what the locker room is like. It's so cool.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's like all the Mexicans that just make it real chill and like a really good vibe, but they've got like some beer back there for after your match.
Oh, wow.
They have good food, they have couches, and it's very much everyone, it doesn't matter whether you're male or female, everyone is kind of there hanging out together and a family. So when I walked in, I was very nervous, and they totally just took me in and let me be a part of their family for that week or two.
Yeah, because most of the people, I won't give any names, but most of the people that I've had on the show from Lucha have been absolutely amazing. Taya's been on the show a couple times, and also Phil. And all the Canadians are always great, but
Obviously.
really great show. But here's the kind of the serious question: some of the wrestlers have been having issues with Lucha as far as contracts and stuff like that. What was your contract like? Was it just like, okay, you're going to just do this main thing and then you're completely out, or was there any issues?
So I got really lucky. I didn't have to sign a contract. And I wasn't willing to, because I wasn't willing to sign my life away. I was 27 years old, and I didn't want to sign a 3 to 7 year deal.
Wow.
And that's what I was being offered. And I felt so lucky. Like I kept jumping back and forth in my head. Do I do it? Do I not do it? Because any girl in the wrestling industry would jump at that opportunity. But I just knew that there was something else around the corner for me, and I wanted to wait. So I just went in there. Essentially, I did 2 weeks, and that was it. Like, the contract was like, you're just going to come in, you're going to have a couple matches, and then we'll talk about a longer contract when we're done, and we'll see how you do and how you enjoy Lucha. And I think they hoped that would kind of sway my decision on signing a contract. But I knew in my heart, I was like, I'm set. I'm going to take all the opportunities I can get in 2018, and I'm not going to jump on anything like I had done in the past.
Yeah.
So I was good, but I know, like, now Ricochet is at NXT, and there's so many other people who have been through that contract ordeal.
Yep.
And man, that's stressful. I'm so glad it's not me.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy because it might have prolonged what later happened that year. Because I'm assuming, because they filmed last year in February 2018. I think it was like February, March. So
yeah, mine was around March. Mine was kind of at the end, and I got to be around for like the season wrap party.
Oh, nice. Oh, there you go. So now fast forward, you have like All In, which is in September. Amazing match. So it was you, Britt Baker, Madison Rayne, and Tessa Blanchard. So how was that? How was the setup getting to that? Like, was there a phone call? It's like, this is what you guys are going to do, or do you want to do this?
Okay, so the funny thing is obviously I don't want to say I get anything because of the person that I'm with, but Matt and Cody are best friends.
Mm-hmm.
So I really, really was in a weird situation where like I wanted the opportunity so bad, but I didn't want to ask him and have him feel like he had to,
right?
Because Matt's his best friend. So I really, really held off. I kept waiting and just letting him know, like once a month I'd be like, hey, just wanted to let you know, I really want to be a part of All In. You know, if there's any opportunity that comes up, I'll take it. And I kept like planting little seeds here and there. And then I remember they were just about to announce the women's match.
Mm-hmm.
And Cody texted me. And we had not had a conversation about, you know, like, oh, you're going to be on the show, you're going to be in this match, nothing. He texted me, hey, send me a promo picture so when I release that you're in the match, I can put a picture with it.
What?
I was like, I remember where I was driving because I was down the road and I looked at my phone. I'm like, oh my God.
That's like a pullover moment. You have to like read it again.
Yes. I'm like, oh my God. And I'm like trying to find promo pictures like in my phone, just like send him anything, but don't send him anything. And you have brown hair now, but your promo pictures are blonde. And it was like very dramatic in my own head, but not dramatic at all. He just kind of told me like that, like didn't really tell me, didn't really ask me,
right?
Just kind of did it.
Okay, all right. Well, I mean, that's good. That's good news. And now you get to the match itself. What was that like? I mean, the crowd looked amazing. The pictures of like you guys when you were done it's just everybody was standing up, and it was a feeling of no longer female wrestlers being like an afterthought or this is time to get popcorn. It was like people were legitimately watching this match and seeing good quality wrestling, which, you know, female wrestlers are capable of.
Yes, and that was our goal going into it. So we went into it and we knew like we're going balls to the walls no matter what. And I knew Tessa was like that. I knew Britt was like that. But we hadn't spoken to Madison Rayne all that much. And like Madison's been wrestling for 10,000 years.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, so I was like, okay, we're going to have to get Madison on board with, you know, doing crazy stuff. But she was on the same train. So when we all met the night before and chatted about it and had some wine, it all just kind of came together. And I can't even tell you, like, the way that crowd treated us, I feel like we gave something to the crowd, but the crowd gave so much to us because they reacted to every single thing that we had hoped that they'd react to, but tenfold, like so much better than I could have imagined. And we did go in there thinking, you know, everyone is bowing down to these WWE girls, but we need to show that we can do the same thing. You know, we're just not on the same platform.
Right.
But this is our platform, so now we have to do it because we can't be all talk. Like now we got to walk the walk. So it was a lot of pressure, and all of us were kind of standing backstage. We were going over it and talking to each other in the bathroom of the locker room because it was the only place we could think.
Right.
We were like in the showers trying to go over it. And then at one point we all just went like, what is going on? Like we're about to go out there and do the biggest and best show that we've ever been in and possibly will ever be in. Like it's such a crazy moment. And I'm so glad that at the end of that match, we have those pictures together. Because, you know, it didn't matter who won or who lost. None of us cared. We all were like, we planned the match and we did not plan a finish. And we waited and waited and waited. And we got the finish that day. So we were just like so excited to be able to do this. And it was us four and there was no bad blood. And it just like everything went off without a hitch.
So let me get this straight. So you found out Cody, you know, texted you and you said you're going to be in the match. The night before the match, you guys sip over some wine and discuss the match. And the day of the match, you guys are huddled in a shower to figure out the match. And there was no kind of clear of, okay, what's going to happen at the end. You guys are going to go with the flow. That's like the sign to me as like true, like you guys were all on it and on top of your game, because I feel like
we definitely were all we were all ready for whatever was thrown at us.
Yeah.
Like, no matter what, we're like, this has to succeed for women's wrestling, for indie wrestling. This has to succeed.
Yeah, because if there was somebody who was inexperienced and not as, qualified as you four, something could have gone wrong. So it was like the perfect
especially under
combination.
that much pressure.
Yeah, it was an amazing match. So that was a high in itself. And then I think a couple weeks later, it was announced that you are part of WWE NXT, almost like the graduations, like when they put those pictures, like, oh yeah, you made it through, you are now officially stamped. What was that news? How did that happen?
Yeah, and I actually knew. I knew that All In was going to be my last indie match, but I couldn't tell anyone. So like, I kind of told a couple people, but I really just like, I wanted so badly to let everyone like in the crowd know, like, oh my God, this is it. But I couldn't, obviously. But I had been contacted around the summer.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of around July. Or whenever the Mae Young Classic was, we were hoping that I would be signed and be in the Mae Young Classic.
Right.
But I kept having visa issues.
Really?
And it just was not happening. And like the Canadian coming into American thing, it's really tough. So I had visa issues up until like end of September.
But wait, aren't you living in the US though?
Yes, but I didn't have a visa. I was just living here like I had a visa with Impact, and then I had a visa for a little bit after that. But I didn't have a visa
gotcha.
for like, that process takes so long.
Oh, yeah.
And we had already started it in the summer, but we had to continue to push my start date back like 3 times.
Oh my God, yeah.
So I ended up starting in October, but was supposed to start earlier than that. But I had said to WWE, look, there's a couple of things that I just can't get out of.
Mm-hmm.
So I cannot start before September 1st.
Yeah, the whole immigration, like, we can talk offline about that. It's just a nightmare. But
It
you
is.
got it, and you're signed. So what was like your first day at the Performance Center? What was that like? And when did that take place?
So that was beginning of October. That was the first week of October. I believe my first day was around the 6th or the 7th. And oh my gosh, I was so nervous. I was nervous because I felt like, just coming off of All In, I had not a target on my back, but like I really had to perform.
Mm-hmm.
Because I just had this amazing match, and now I'm coming in and, like we're doing all these new drills and things I don't know how to do really. But I was, all I could do was try my best. But first day at the Performance Center, they put me straight into a class and straight into training.
Oh, wow.
No orientation, nothing. And I was the only girl who started that day.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So because this is not your first go round, you had was it a tryout before, right?
I've had a couple tryouts, and then I've worked in the rings during Tough Enough.
And then, I mean, some other indie folks were also in that kind of camp with you. So you had Mia Yim was in there as well, kind of when you started.
She had started about a month or a month and a half before me.
Oh, okay.
So she was like just feeling comfortable when I got there. So it was nice to have her there,
Mm-hmm.
but she wasn't the new girl with me.
Okay,
they
gotcha.
just had to wait to announce her till they had a class full enough.
Nice. So
Yeah.
then you get there, and it's like there's certain things that you don't necessarily know, but you kind of go straight into the classes, and then you realize, based off of all the stuff that you've done before with Impact and through the indies, that like you have it.
Yeah, and I mean, every day at the Performance Center, we're learning something new. So there really is no shame in failing. Like,
Right.
Who cares if you can't do a roll or you can't do a drill? I laugh at myself. I cannot cartwheel. I have not been able to cartwheel since like I was 5.
How is
And
that
it's just something
possible?
that me and my sister have laughed about this forever. But in drills, we do a cartwheel. So guess what? I'm gonna do my best damn cartwheel.
So do you have your cartwheel down now?
Nope. No, it's bad, and we still laugh. Every single day that I roll, Deanna laughs at me.
I mean, I find that hard to believe because, one, if you guys are not on Chelsea's Instagram, her Instagram is motivational. She's in swimsuits and bikinis and, you know, buns out, guns out. They're amazing. And you just told me that you came from the gym. So it's like, I feel like if I could do a cartwheel, then you should be able to do a cartwheel too. I'm just saying there. Maybe it's
In
coming.
theory, yes. Yes, I should be able to.
So what's your gym routine like? That's what I also wanted to ask.
Well, it's changed a little now because now I'm in therapy and rehab for my wrist. But I mean, now are you talking gym routine at the PC or in regular life?
Let's do both. So let's say gym routine at the PC.
So a regular day at the PC is usually 2 hours in the ring and 1 hour in the gym. I tend to do the ring, and then if we don't have to be at gym, I'll go home and I'll do gym on my own, because at the PC it's very much like a kind of a team workout.
Mm-hmm.
And I prefer, I'm like, I go to the gym, I put my headphones on, I don't talk to anyone, I don't look at anyone, I don't make a nice face to anyone. So like I prefer that. But sometimes what I'll do is I'll go and I'll do the PC workout, and then I'll go home and I'll go to the gym and I'll do my own kind of workout as well. So I mean, no matter what, like, we're always working out now that I'm with NXT, because you're always doing something physical, whether it's in the gym or in the ring. You know, you're always doing a bit of cardio. But of course, with my wrist now, it's a little different because I can't get in the ring, and I won't be in the ring for another couple weeks, I think. So it's just me on my own in the gym.
Yeah, but it looks like because you had the brace on for a while, a couple months, right?
Yeah, I had the brace on for 6 weeks.
Okay. So now it's off, and then
It's off.
Have you been cleared, or are they still doing some tests?
We're still working on getting my wrist mobility back, and then we go in the ring and we start rolling around, and then you get cleared.
Okay, so that essentially happened on your first match at Full Sail, and like how did that happen? Because I think you tweeted or you posted on Instagram that you knew like halfway through the match. So like how did that happen, and what was your thought process when you was like, oh, something's wrong here?
Well, something similar happened to me in India. At the beginning of my first match in India, I broke my collarbone, and I told the ref, but there's nothing you can do. You know, you either stop the match or you keep going, and
Right.
I just kept going that time. I kept going this time as well. So it was in the middle of the match, and I gave the opponent a code breaker, and unfortunately, when she took the code breaker, she rolled over me, and I was rolling backwards, so my hand was like this, so it broke my forearm.
Ooh.
The pressure broke my forearm. So I knew as it was happening, like, it was a very slow, like, rolling back, and I'm like, oh my god, and then it snapped.
Oh.
It was really gross, and I mean, but what are you gonna do? Like, it's Full Sail, it's a dark match that, you know, I need to prove myself.
Right.
Because this was my first time ever wrestling in an NXT ring at Full Sail, which is so crazy, but I've never been an extra.
Right.
So I had never been in front of that crowd. I've never been in that ring. I've never wrestled in front of, you know, Triple H or any of those guys. So I just kept going. That was just my instinct. So I probably had about 4 minutes left of the match, and we kept going, and I mean, I was winning, so I wanted to hit my finish and get that, you know, picture with my hand raised.
Oh my gosh, I think that alone definitely proved to, you know, everybody that was watching, including Triple H, that because if you stop the match and you're like, oh my gosh, then that doesn't show, I mean, heart.
Right.
You know, it still sucks.
Like, that's the thing. At the end of the day, like, whatever you do, it's just gonna come naturally, right? Like, you're either gonna stop because that's just the type of person you are, or maybe you're thinking about your safety, or, you know, but I'm just not that type of person, and I never have been. And I'm just going to keep going, and maybe that's not a good thing, and maybe it's not healthy, but I did it, and I'm happy I did it, and I'm happy I was able to say that I did it, because no one can say now that I didn't do it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think if it went the other way, then we might be talking and telling a different story. So now that happens, and now we fast forward a little bit towards WrestleMania. It's in New York. It's around your birthday. Your boyfriend now / fiance decides to pop the question. Yeah. You understand? When I saw this on Instagram, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, we were best friends. What was that? Did you know it was coming, or like, how did that happen?
Well, I knew it was coming. One, because Matt cannot keep a secret, and he can't lie. Like, he's very terrible at that. And I don't blame him because I tell him everything. It's like really hard to keep that secret. But I did not know it was coming that night on my birthday. I was very surprised. But I had already like bullied it out of him, and I knew he had a ring.
Wait, how did you bully it out of him?
It was so bad, but I bullied it out of him twice. The first time when he was going to look at the ring, I came home and he was not in workout clothes, and him and I are like just always in workout clothes.
Right.
And he was in jeans and a t-shirt, and I'm like, where are you going? And he was like, I'm just going to run errands. I was like, why would you be running errands in jeans and a t-shirt?
Oh, no.
When have you ever done that? And I was being so sassy, and he was like, oh, I'm going to look at rings. And I'm like, oh. So then the next day we actually went together to look at rings.
Okay.
And then maybe a month and a half later, I knew that if he bought a ring on that day that we looked, it had to be about a month and a half later that like he would have to pick it up.
Right.
So I'm seriously Nancy Drew. I can figure anything out. So then there was a day when he was flying back home from the road. So it was a Tuesday. He was flying back home, and all of a sudden he said like, oh, my plane got rerouted and we're in Jacksonville. I'm like, what? That doesn't happen. And I kept quizzing him, and it turns out he was in Tampa picking up this ring and driving home. But he had like, I felt so bad because he had planned and you know, like been the mastermind of this whole scheme to pick up the ring so I wouldn't know, and then I totally blew it.
It's like you almost have to stick to your patterns when you're with somebody that kind of knows certain things. So it happens in New York. So you're like, how does he say come up to the roof, or like how does this all transpire?
So it was my birthday, so he let me pick a place to eat. But like every time I suggested somewhere to eat, he was like, oh, I don't really want to go in that area. I want to go in this area. And I'm like, this is annoying. Because now we're just going to go to the steakhouse that you want to go to, but whatever. So we did go to the steakhouse that he wanted to go to. And that's why like I had no idea, because he kind of let me pick this restaurant. So we went to the restaurant. He couldn't really eat anything. I'm like, oh man, like he must be really tired. We should just go back to the hotel instead of going out after. And he was like, oh, well, I'm tired, but like, why don't we just go to this rooftop bar that I know of? We'll have a drink and then let's just go home. But at least we went out and said we did it.
Right.
I was like, okay. We're both so tired. And he takes me up to this rooftop, and then there it is. There's candles and like string lights and everything. And I just had no clue. I thought we were going to like some cute little New York rooftop bar.
So how did he set that up? Because the pictures look amazing. So it looked like either a professional photographer or a really good friend who knows how to work a camera. One of the two.
It was a professional photographer, and I believe those are the same people that like set everything up and got it ready and had the champagne ready and everything. It was so cool.
Oh my gosh. Well, congratulations. For you guys who don't know.
I'm a taken woman.
That's beautiful. That's nice. For you guys who don't know, Matt is Zack Ryder. I mean, you should know, but just in case you don't, just, you know, for the newbies. So is there a date planned as far as when the wedding's going to be?
We keep talking about the end of 2020, like maybe September or something, but it's so tough because, you know, he's from New York, I'm from Canada. We want it to be at a time when everybody can come.
Right.
And I mean, when can everyone come? I don't know. Like we just keep tossing around ideas. We keep debating whether we should do a destination or Orlando, because Orlando's a destination for all our families. So we are still deciding, but Disney is a huge option.
I noticed that you guys are in Disney quite a bit. Like how?
All the time.
What do you go on the same rides, or what's the breakdown of that?
Well, I've learned now from being with Matt that there are plenty of options as to what you can do. So sometimes we'll just head towards Disney and we'll just go for, you know, a nice dinner and then we'll leave. Sometimes we'll go for dinner in like Space Mountain. Sometimes we'll go for a full day. Sometimes we'll park hop. There are all sorts of things that you'll have to ask him about. Okay. Because I'm just like along for the ride. I seriously just jump in the seat beside him and I'm like, okay, where are we going?
Now, how do you guys work out your schedule? Because you're at NXT, and then he's traveling, he's on the road. So how often do you guys get to see each other?
Yeah, it's tough. That's something like we've really had to work on with our relationship, because when we first started dating, I was on the indies, of course. I made my own schedule, and he was out with a knee injury. So we had 6 months together of like just spending time and never being away.
Right.
So right now he gets home midday Tuesday and leaves Friday, but I am gone all day Thursday, all day Friday.
Oh no.
So we see each other Wednesday and Tuesday night.
Wow. So what was the, like, when you got the kind of call saying, you know, we want you, the paperwork is done, what was Matt's kind of, I'm assuming happy, but like, how was that, like, hey, babe, by the way, we're at the same company now, or how did that happen?
He was so excited. I remember I was in LA, and I had just done bar wrestling against Ivelisse.
Oh, I remember.
And actually, I was at the airport in the morning, like very, very early in the morning. I was so exhausted, and he sent me a picture. He had opened my mail, and it was the contract. And he was like this, like, had this contract, and I'm like, oh my God, what is that? He's like, it's your contract. I'm like, oh my God, what? Like, wait, what? I didn't think that that's how it would happen.
Right.
But he was very excited because, you know, we had a lot of long talks about what I wanted out of this industry. And when it came down to it, it was only WWE. Like, no matter what I was given, it was never enough. Right. And there was a lot of like tears shed by me wondering why. Right. Why was I not asked to be in WWE? Why was I not asked to be in the Mae Young Classic? You know, why didn't I get this tryout or this or that? So he's kind of been through it with me. So he was really excited. But then on the other hand, he knew, like, okay, this is going to be a real stressor on our relationship. And I was like, no, it won't. No, it won't. It is.
Oh, goodness. But, I mean, at least you're in the same house and now you're getting married. So that's...
Right.
Yeah.
It all worked out. And at the end of the day, I wanted to be here and he wanted me to be happy.
Right.
You know, so it's so exciting to be in the same company and to like go to Hall of Fame with him and be able to be in the videos with him and be able, you know, like speak openly about our relationship, because we weren't really able to do that to an extent before.
Really? Is that because you were with Impact, or that's just
yeah.
their Oh, gotcha.
You know, like they can't have me coming on WWE TV and I'm signed to another company. It just doesn't look good for him or for me.
Right. So do you think when you were done with Impact, they were kind of like watching you, and then, you know, they're trying to pick the right time for you to come in? Or do you know what the story was behind as far as them, you know, choosing 2018 as your year?
I don't know if when I left Impact, they even wanted me. I don't think they did, because there's more to the story than just that. I actually left Impact, contacted WWE. There was no available positions at WWE, and I actually had to essentially beg for a tryout.
Oh, wow.
And that would have been my third tryout. And I sent an email saying, like, you know, I want to be here, and if you're not just hiring me after I leave Impact, clearly there's something I need to show you.
Right.
Whether it's in the ring, whether it's my personality, whether it's my character, whatever it is, I will show you that as long as you give me this tryout, and you will hire me. You will want me when you see me.
That was the email that you sent?
Yeah, well,
oh my gosh.
because I needed to at this point. It was like, I need them to know, like, that I'm not someone you want to overlook.
Right.
You know, and I've been, you know, I've done Tough Enough. I've had a couple tryouts. I know how that company works. And you have to be confident in yourself for them to be confident in you.
This is true. Your emails, like, I've sent a lot of those emails before, so I'm like, oh my gosh, like, we have the same type of personality. But the good thing is, like, what I love about the fact that you're there is you have like a whole bunch of characters to choose from. and your mic skills are there, and there's certain things that, I mean, everybody has to work on something. Nobody's perfect, but there's certain skill sets that you already have that are going to be easier for you to, you know, transition into. So has there been, I mean, you're a few weeks out, so maybe what, 6 weeks out or something like that, as far as going back into the ring officially, do you think?
Hopefully less.
Okay, so
I really hope it's only 3 weeks, but I don't know. It's so hard to tell because it is all about bending a wrist that
Yeah.
will not bend.
yeah, so hopefully, so within the month. Have you decided as far as like character wise, or have you talked to somebody there as far as like what angle you're going to do?
No, I haven't spoken to anyone, and I just continue to kind of try out all sorts of different things. And you'll see, like, on my Instagram page, 1 minute I'm the hot mess, 1 minute I'm half and half, 1 minute I'm Chelsea, 1 minute I'm Chelsea with devil horns, 1 minute I'm like bubblegum babyface Chelsea. Like, there's all sorts of different things, and I like that they feel confident enough in me to let me one night be a heel and one night be a babyface.
Right.
You know, that's like something that not a lot of people get the opportunity to do, and I'm lucky enough to be one of those girls that they've chosen
Yeah.
to do that. So I mean, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I could, like, I say this all the time, I could come on TV and be a friggin' British librarian. Like, I think that I can play whatever part I'm given. We just have to decide what that is.
And that's the huge difference between you and some other folks, is the fact that you can play both. Because some people just they can't. I mean, even if they try.
I have no shame. I do not mind if I'm embarrassed, if you know what I mean. And I think a lot of people, they get embarrassed. They don't want to play a character that's not cute or not sexy or not good at wrestling. Like, I'll play it all. I really don't care.
Yeah. So we have some questions from the chat because it's kind of been blowing up. So
Okay.
Roxy Bronx, she asks, what's your favorite non-wrestling thing to talk about?
Ooh, well, it's funny. I used to have 10,000 non-wrestling things to talk about, and now I'm just like consumed with wrestling. But I would say traveling.
Okay.
I wish more people asked me about my travels and like kind of what I've done. And hopefully with WWE, I get the opportunity to tell people.
I mean, they travel quite a bit as well. Is there somewhere that you want to travel to that you haven't traveled to yet?
Well, I just went to Thailand and crossed that off the bucket list. My next trip, hopefully, is to hike Mount Kilimanjaro. So I've spoken to a couple of my girlfriends about that in Canada, and there are two they're willing to do it with me.
Oh my gosh.
So now I'm just kind of deciding when. Now, of course, that I've got this wedding coming up, I mean, I have to figure out, is it going to be before a wedding? Is it going to be after a wedding? I don't know.
That training is like, altitude training is like key. It's a must. Because
Yep.
yeah, I've heard stories.
Yeah, it's a real deal.
Yeah, definitely you have to almost do like because I went over there. I didn't hike there, but I went over there and I was talking to some athletes there, and they said they essentially did training in Denver to prepare for it.
Yes.
As far as altitude, so just make sure
Yes.
you do that.
I'm going to wear the mask.
Yeah, I've heard. I don't know if they're. I mean, I see people doing, so hopefully it's beneficial. Spiteful XX says or asks, what is your favorite theme for WWE? Either what is your favorite theme for WWE you used during NXT Live? I guess maybe like what type of characters that you presented or personalities.
Well, I mean, I guess like something that I really love that I didn't get to explore enough on the indies was a split personality, a very like James McAvoy split character. And I'm not sure how that would be presented, you know, whether it's like schizophrenic or whether it's I come out and I'm always someone different. I don't know, but I would love to continue exploring that option.
Yeah, you would be a really good addition because I do cover the NXT after show for AfterBuzz, and it's just like they have the same group of characters on NXT live show, so you'd be a really good addition, especially with that split personality as far as shaking up the locker room. So that might,
and it can go any way, you know.
Yeah, that might be a really good thing to take care of or try. As far as WWE, who would you like to compete against, or who would you like your first feud to be against?
I now after being there for a little while would love. I mean, okay, I'm gonna take away all the NXT UK girls because I obviously love Tony and I've never worked her. Love Ginny, I've never worked her. Viper or Piper now,
Yeah.
and Kaylee Ray. Those are 4 that I cannot wait to work. But someone that I want to work in the locker room here would be Rhea Ripley, because I've never worked her. She's so strong. She can base, she can do it all. And I really think that she is going to be the next big thing.
Okay. And then what about on the main roster?
Ooh, I would say Charlotte and Natty.
Yeah, and Natty, another fellow Canadian.
Right, Natty, fellow Canadian, and like can just do anything, and I think she'd be able to teach me a lot. And Charlotte, because I think that we're very similar, and similar build, similar height, everything. So I think that we could have a really good match.
Wait, how tall are you?
I'm 5'8".
And then Charlotte's 5'8" too, or 5'9"?
Yep.
Oh, she looks so much taller on
I know
on TV. She looks like she's like 5'10", 5'11".
But you know what? Everyone used to say that to me when I was on Impact too. Like, wow, you're not a giant.
Oh, okay. All right. I like that. Now, what's the first thing that you're going to do once you're cleared? Like, what are you, going to talk to management and say, here are the ideas I have, and this is what I'm thinking, or, just go back to group training? What's your first thing, like, once it's like, all right, you're good to go?
I think I just want to get back in the ring in, like, the Florida shows and just get back into my routine and my groove, because I don't want to jump the gun on anything. You got to get back. It's like dancing. You take a bit of time off, or riding a bike. Take a bit of time off. You got to get back on the bike, get going before you're going fast and you're like doing jumps.
Yeah, get your bearings.
Right? Like, so I want to do that and get confident again. And usually that only takes me like 2 matches and I feel back to myself.
Okay.
But the pressure is on at NXT, and I want to make sure that I don't, go and say that I can perform at this level when I'm only at this level,
What is the... Oh, so women's wrestling fan, she asked, what is the title of your entrance music in NXT? It sounds good on the recordings.
Well, right now I don't have one. So there's been a couple that we've played with and we've had fun with, and there's a guy at NXT that has helped me kind of combine two, but we don't officially, I don't have anything. So if you listen to something, you might not even hear it again.
Oh, okay. Maybe you can use the Google app. Might be able to, there's like a Google app where you play the music to it, and they'll be able to figure it out. But before we get going, we have to do something called rapid hot tags. So I'm going to ask you
Women's
some questions.
Wrestling rapid hot tags.
I'm going to ask you some questions, and you say whatever is the first thing that comes to your mind. So always early or always late?
Always early.
Last person you text?
Deanna.
If you can listen to one album for the rest of your life, what would it be?
I would say the Eagles.
If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
Being invincible.
Oh, I like that. Weekends or weekdays?
Weekends.
Costume parties or pool parties?
Costume parties.
I thought you were going to say pool parties for some reason.
I know. Everyone thinks that, and I love bikinis, but I love costumes even more. We just never get to have costume parties because I'm friggin' always away on Halloween.
Cubed ice or crushed ice?
Cubed.
Late owl or early riser?
Late owl when Matt's home, but I prefer to be an early riser.
Okay. What is the one thing that you love about yourself?
My abs.
I thought you were going to add like a couple of S's. I was like, oh, okay. So abs, I agree with that. Who would play you in a movie?
Ooh, I would say Eliza Dushku.
Okay. Last show you binge watched?
Oh man, I binge watch all reality TV. So like Very Cavallari, Vanderpump Rules, Keeping Up with the Kardashians, all the bad stuff. I love it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I was just watching Keep Up with the Kardashians yesterday, and it was quite interesting. It's like taking a political turn of some sort. So it's interesting to see that.
Weird, right?
Yeah.
I know.
But I mean, she's growing up. If you were a crayon, what color would you be?
Blue.
Okay. And then this week is a pay-per-view, so I just kind of want to get your opinion for the Money in the Bank. Becky Lynch, Lacey Evans, or Charlotte Flair? Who do you have?
I'm gonna go with Lacey because Lacey's my NXT girl.
Okay. Do you think Becky's gonna drop both belts, or you think she's gonna retain one?
Okay, so and I was just thinking about this today. I was rewatching the segment from this week, and I don't know. I can't even make a prediction of how this is gonna go, but I think that this will probably be one of the best women's matches that we see this year.
Oh yeah, it's very intriguing, especially with Lacey, how they presented Lacey. Like I didn't understand it, but now I do. And she just has something like a je ne sais quoi, where it's just like you love to hate her or you love to love her, but either way she can, hold her own. So definitely.
Right, and what I love about her is just like her mic skills.
Yeah.
Her mic skills are amazing, and it just everything she says is just like, oh,
yeah,
I love it.
And you kind of know, I mean, obviously you probably know her. You kind of, to me, when I watch her, it's like, it feels like that's not necessarily her, but she's so good at it that it could possibly be her. You know what I'm saying? It's like
100%. I think she plays that character with 110% dedication.
So just in case people are not following you, and you should, for not only like motivation to get in the gym, but just, the journey itself, where can people find you?
Oh man, I'm bad at this. I think on Twitter at I'm Chelsea Green.
Okay. And
Instagram is definitely at Chelsea A Green, but forgive me if it's not at I'm Chelsea Green on Twitter. I'm sorry.
Just Google it. She's there for sure. Oh my gosh, thank you so much for coming on and having the Skype, because last time we had Chelsea, I think were you driving somewhere or something like that?
No, I couldn't get my Skype to work on my computer. And you know what? Since then, it has not worked. Oh. So I wasn't lying. That's the good thing.
Oh, well, now it does. Because I think that too, we might have only had like 20 minutes or something like that. It was like a really short interview because you had to go and do something. So thankfully we got all the information in, and I can't wait to see you on NXT. Thank you so much for coming on. Your favorite moment at WrestleMania?
Ooh, well, you guys, if you didn't see it, my fiance won the tag team titles. So I would say that was my favorite moment because I got to go out and sit ringside.
Oh, and the pictures were lovely. Okay, yeah, that should be the favorite moment. But thank you so much for coming on. I look forward to seeing all the Instagram pictures and life. I mean, you are just, I feel like I'm caught up with your life just via Instagram. So I love being nosy, but like you put it out there for folks. So, and just your rise, because this is only the beginning. I mean,
it is. Thank you. Thank you for having me. And hopefully we can do this next year, and I'll have way crazier stories to tell you.
Yes. And in LA, hopefully, so we can get Maria in here too. So we'll see. Yes. Put that all together. So thank you so much. Look to see you on NXT in a few weeks. Make sure that wrist is all good. All right. So, folks, that was Chelsea Green. If you don't know her, then you should know her. You should know her. That's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Thank you guys so much for watching the show. We really appreciate it. If you guys have any suggestions, I know people put that on social media as far as people to have on the show, please tweet us at WPW Weekly on Instagram, and you can also hit us up on Instagram as well, Twitter and Instagram. As well, if you want to check out Evan, he's going to be back next week. You can check him out at Evan T. Max. Make sure you go and follow him, and you'll figure out everything that he's kind of doing with his life. Other than that, thank you for watching the show. Make sure that if you are watching on YouTube, make sure to subscribe, leave comments, definitely that. And then if you're listening on any of the other platforms, Spotify or iTunes, leave a comment. Always read that as well. You can follow me on everything at TK Trinidad. I thank you guys so much for watching the show. Without you guys, we wouldn't be the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. Other than that, we will check you guys next week. Ciao, guys.
From executive producers Kevin Undergaro, Maria Menounos, Phil Svitek, producer TK Trinidad, and me, Mark Donica, your voice of AfterBuzz TV Wrestling. We ask you to rate and comment on iTunes, subscribe to AfterBuzz Wrestling on YouTube, and find us on all social media. Thank you for watching Women's Pro Wrestling Weekly. See you next week.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.